gone insane. An upside-down civilization cannot be real. A world of madness and terror.
It's the Dana Gould Hour.
Well, it's summer. School's out, the pool's open, and everywhere you look, aging men are wearing flip-flops. I fucking hate flip-flops. I like big, clunky shoes. 9 times out of 10, you can find me sporting a pair of John Fluvog Angels. And that is a free plug for great shoes. They make me feel strong and manly. And that is what the show is about today, as much as we manage to stick to any topic. To that end, Joel Stein is here. Joel is the funny guy from the back of Time Magazine, our second Time Magazine columnist, the first being my buddy Mike Murphy. And you can pick up Joel's hilarious book, Man-Made, A Stupid Quest for Masculinity. And I will tell you where to get it at the end of my prattling. Lou Schneider is also here. Lou is an old pal of mine, very funny comedian and writer, longtime producer of Everybody Loves Raymond and Men of a Certain Age, among many other things. He also created years ago Down the Shore, very funny show with a super hot craft services girl on that show. We don't know what happened to her. Today's show features my old friend Rob Cohen, and Eddie Pepitone is here. Ivory-skinned, doe-eyed Eddie Pepitone. And if you are in Los Angeles, you can see Eddie on June 26th at the Echoplex with Andy Kindler, Greg Fitzsimmons, Nick Kroll, Paul Scheer, and more. Will I be there? The bad news is no. I will not be there. But the good news is, it is because I will be in Northern California performing in Mill Valley at the Throckmorton Theater. So please come on down, folks. Details for all of this stuff can be found at danagould.com, where, right under the podcast window, you will find our Amazon link. Do you want to go to Amazon? Maybe you want to go there and buy, say, Joel Stein's book, or the DVD of a movie we may talk about during the show today. Go to danagould.com, click on the link, go to Amazon, get what you want. We get a little bit, they get a little bit, you get what you want. Everybody's happy and there ain't no killing. And now, a podcast. Our topic today, dementia.
Do you ever feel like you're getting it a little bit? Like,
the time.
I meet a lot of people, and I look at people, and I know their face, and I'm like, I just give a big smile and a big wave, and I point to them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I move, and I don't know their name, and then they tell me their name, and I'm like, wow, Eddie, is this, a condition?
Mm-hmm. Here's
So I adjust my sweatpants, and I feel better.
I literally the number is 315-2177. What did he say? Banana?
I not to belabor this, but I just had the same conversation with my mother where I said, I'm going to come up and visit you in June. It was May, and she's like, so I guess you're not coming up to visit. And I said June, and it's May. And she's like, it's the end of May. So it was then getting to like a vortex of her forgetting and then remembering, but trying to skew it.
This all goes under the heading of misinformation in a way. We have so much misinformation in
Yes.
our lives just from the media. Everybody is fed so much misinformation. And the truth is such a fickle mistress.
It is.
Nobody knows the truth about anything. And so then when you get older and you've processed all this goddamn crap that's been in your,
It's like I got off the phone with my mother had been in the hospital.
About
And
the
then-
hip, right?
Yeah, she had an accident. Then I talked to her on the phone. She's a little foggy.
Yeah.
And then my wife says, how was the phone call with your mom? I'm like, it was good. And then I have to make up a lie. Sorry. I just watched Born Free. Sorry.
You want to appear manly.
Because I want to be manly about it. You know, if they say it's manly to cry, then I'd like to see more of that in Army movies. I want to see those guys.
It does happen, but they always stop it. Like, it's always crying interruptus. Like, they start to cry,
Right.
which is how I was for years, by the way. I could not weep copiously, which I took a copiously weeping workshop.
How'd that go?
Over at the
At
Learning
the-
Annex.
Yeah.
UCLA
Was that
At UCLA.
that was taught by Mandy Patinkin.
Yes.
Every day. Well, class, we're going to get out at 3. It's 10 of. All stand to sing Over the Rainbow.
I've realized that I am a lot more in touch with my feelings, and movies that have any kind of heart. I swear to God, last night I saw, and this isn't to hurt you guys or brag, the exotic Marigold Hotel.
Right.
Did you guys see it?
No,
I cry just with Indian music now. Just strains of music now can make me well up.
Is that the one with Bill Nighy?
Yes,
My favorite actor.
He's great.
He's
Are you
amazing.
serious?
Yes, I am.
He is terrific.
I will watch him read the phone book. He's just fantastic. It was amazing. So to me, it was My Dog Skip. At the end of My Dog Skip, when the dog couldn't get up on the bed, forget it. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. That sounds...
And I was on a plane, and I was a puddle. I was just a puddle.
How old is this movie?
It's old. This is
Around for a while.
late 90s.
I just had that same experience, and as you know, I'm incredibly robotic and devoid of feelings. But rewatched, I'd seen it before, the Carson American Masters thing. On
I
PBS.
just watched that. Yeah. What made you cry in that?
Well, it wasn't even crying. It was like
When
getting
he hits the Indian in the accident, it looks like a boner.
Exactly. No, when Bette Midler is singing to him at the end, because you know what's going to happen. You've seen it before. It's iconic television, but at the same time, there you go.
What does she sing?
She sings like "Make It One More Baby for the Road."
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
She's trying to not cry, and he's trying to not cry, but you also know it's the end of the life of the guy you've just been watching 2 hours of.
Oh, it's brutal.
Effed up life.
Brutal.
It's amazing, and you know everything that's going to happen, but it was still like, and even Kristen Wiig's last SNL episode.
Oh, I couldn't. I don't think I could watch that.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Why? Was that really heavy duty?
I guess they played She's a Rainbow. They sang She's a Rainbow. Yeah, it's hard.
They sang it, and just seeing how sad she was to leave, and it was like this big moment. It was amazing to see that. I forgot that Mick Jagger.
That's funny to me that you equated Johnny Carson and Kristen Wiig together.
Well, it's, you know what it is?
It's NBC. It's the Peacock.
My one weird soft spot, weirdly, is TV goodbyes, even if it's fake, like the Chuckles the Clown episode, or like
Chuckles the Clown. But it would be funny if NBC had just goodbyes for everything, like a pilot that, you know what I mean? Like one episode of just, a procedural.
This July, all of Dana Gould's failed pilots in a 30-day cryathon.
But that was like the last episode of MASH. I remember watching it at my cousin's house just by myself when they had the helicopter shot going away, and he spelled like goodbye in rocks.
Yeah.
It was like,
All right, so what we're mourning.
I get really upset, and then to sort of reset myself emotionally, I masturbate.
I always feel like crying after masturbating, though.
Yeah.
Like there's
we
something.
should hang out.
There are just depths of degradation of the human soul that there's never a bottom to it.
No,
There's
not
never
not in my case.
Is it manly to cry? We're all talking about endings, like, oh my God, it's ending, like Kristen Wiig. I don't think it's manly to be crying about Kristen Wiig leaving SNL.
I don't think it's manly, but
It's just sad. You see people experiencing a real emotion, which is rare on television.
And also, she's so good that I think that it's also you're realizing she is leaving this place that made her who she is, but at the same time, it's like that's such a bubble there. It's got to be so hard to now just go out where you're a hitter and now go out and hope that it continues. But
I admire career-wise the people like her,
totally,
who just like, I did my thing here, and now I'm going to go and try something else.
Yeah.
How long have they been on the show? 37 years. What?
Yeah.
How long was she on the show?
7 years.
Yeah.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
Andy Samberg left too, but quietly after the end of the season.
Oh, wow. He didn't have a big
No,
emotional...
Mick Jagger didn't sing to him. Ron Wood came over to his house and played the kazoo. Ron Woods played the kazoo. Joel Stein had a baby boy and realized that he was a big sissy. So he did some manly things, and one of the things he did was he enlisted in the Army. He went through boot camp for 4 days.
Did he really?
Yeah. Now, could you go through that, do you think?
Not now, I can't.
Yeah.
My body is too fucked up.
But he just emotionally, at 18, I was so not prepared to be screamed at all the time.
That's true.
Which is what it is. The reason they do it is to just see how you operate under pressure. So they just get up in your face, and you're just under extreme duress.
Try being Jewish in Calgary.
Try being Jewish in Calgary.
There's your pressure.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it. To me, the emotional assault is so much more brutal.
Well, that's what they're
physical
going
assault.
for, right?
Yeah, like I would look at people shooting at me as a great relief. I'd know it wasn't personal. This has nothing to do with me. This is my uniform they're angry
It's
at.
their job.
Yeah.
They want to be good at their job. They're trying to impress their boss.
Yeah.
If they hit me, it's better for them.
Yeah, I cannot imagine. I cannot conceive of that. And
Getting screamed at. And
when my brother was in basic training, he was on a 21-mile march, and his boot was rubbing into his shin, and they wouldn't let him stop. And to this day, he has a giant divot in his shin from where his boot rubbed into the bone. It was just like, keep marching. It was full of blood when he finally took his boot off. Keep marching. Your book, Joel, Man-Made, A Stupid Quest for Manhood.
Yes.
Tell me why you wrote that book.
Well, I didn't think I cared what the gender of my child was, and then I went to get that sonogram, and they said that the smudge was a penis, and I just pictured having to take that penis camping and teach that penis how to play baseball, and that penis getting into fights.
Was the name Smudge ever considered as a name? Right out of the gate.
I was
Smudge Stein.
Too Jewish.
I was going the other way. I liked Danger and Zed.
Zed. Oh, yeah.
I thought Zed was really cool. So yeah, no, the other way was
Critch.
Smudge. Sarge.
Sarge. And Lou, you have boys.
I have 3 sons.
3 sons. Your 3 sons.
One wise, one foolish. I bred for height. My wife is 6 feet tall, so my
Really?
kids are
Your
all...
wife is 6 feet tall?
Yeah, I was determined to break the cycle of genetic abuse that produced generations of tiny liquor salesmen.
Right. And that's your family?
Your wife
Yeah, exactly.
obviously not Jewish, 6 feet tall.
No, mother Jewish.
Really?
Yeah.
See, now I have a problem with giant Jews.
Sure. You should be
Because-
scared. Barry Katz.
Yes,
Exactly. The tallest Jew in captivity.
Yeah, because the Jews are meant to be small because
Yes.
they have all this attitude, they're smart, they can do a lot of things. If they get too big,
Right, then what does that do to your psyche? You
Yes.
still have to have the small psyche.
nothing holds them back at that point.
And that is the conundrum of the bear Jew
Yes.
from Inglorious Bastards.
Right.
Yes,
You
exactly.
must have...
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And I find that interesting. Now, people assume that I'm Jewish because my name
Yes.
is Gould. I'm actually Black Irish Catholic. And so you both are not going to heaven. I find that fascinating.
We've heard bad things.
Yeah, it's not all it's cracked. I've
Yeah.
heard, first of all, if you don't get there early, it's jammed.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to be a part of any gated community. I don't care where it is.
We've heard the portions are small. Yeah.
As Andy Kindler would say, the help is not well kempt.
My mother would say, it's nicely appointed.
But you didn't feel like you
No.
were going to be a good masculine prototype for your son?
I know you had a wimpy childhood, but I had the glass animal collection. I had an Easy Bake Oven. I had a
did?
sticker collection.
God.
I only listened to show tunes until junior high because I thought rock was the devil's music, and we were, secular Jews.
Really?
Yeah, all my friends were girls.
Because I was a complete puss. But compared to you, I was Sterling Hayden.
I was going to say, it's so rare that I'm in a room where I go, if a fight breaks out here, I'm going to walk all over these pussies. I've never had that thought in my life.
How does it feel? Does it feel good?
I'm going to start beating people up. I might take a swing at both of you pussies.
Even in my fantasy fights, at some point I go, stop fighting me. Tell me about Joel. Your father, macho guy, intellectual?
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Both. He had scars on his knuckles from
Right.
getting into fights with Italian guys in the Bronx.
He's the bear Jew.
He is
Your
the bear
father
Jew.
was the bear Jew.
So I didn't for the book. I did 3 days of boot camp in the Army at Fort Knox.
Why Fort Knox? Is that the only place that would let you go there, or what?
No, they wanted this General Mark Hertling, who now is the commander for all of Europe, and his Facebook messaging me. He sent me
What happened to this country?
I know. Well, it gets worse because I called the Department of Defense and asked if I could train, do some boot camp, and they had all the different parts of the military call and make me offers. And then I started getting emails from General Mark Hertling that were really funny. It was like, oh, I thought you wanted to be a man. Why are you talking to the Navy? But then he'd put a smiley face.
Emoticons
Yes.
of the top brass. Joel, it's General Hartley. If I do a number 3 and a chevron, does that mean I love you?
I don't even know what that means.
He's going over which of
That's
the
an
emoticons.
emoticon. That's an emoticon.
Oh,
for a
I
heart.
don't know my emoticons, but he does. And so I went with the branch that had emoticons.
Yeah. Emoticons of World War II. The Japanese have bombed Pearl Harbor. Sad face, sad face,
Sad
sad
face,
face.
backslash, greater than symbol
I've
for
just been
eyebrows.
convicted of murder. Sad face. Either it's a half Japanese, half American force, or he's winking. I don't know. Because I have 4 older brothers and my dad, and they're all really macho guys. And I wasn't into hunting, I wasn't into fishing, and I really wasn't into sports. I was into Star Trek.
Oh, that
and
kind of nerd.
Dark
Yeah.
Shadows, and reading and
You're the father my son should have had.
right. But I was a fag, in their words. Which
Do they actually call you that
Oh
often?
yeah, all the time. But when you're from Massachusetts, and that's part of the weird, the nomenclature war. It's like for people in Boston who say fag, we all agree that it is offensive. But to me, it's almost meaningless because I heard it so much.
Well, it wasn't just Massachusetts; it was New Jersey
right.
too.
Yeah, East Coast in general.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, but people don't understand. Like, no, I heard fag 30, 40, 50 times a day.
Do you think
yes.
other guys did too, or you just heard it 30, 40, 50 times?
No, it's omnipresent.
We used it as a nickname to put in, like, if you just couldn't come up with a nickname for a guy, you take
right.
the first syllable of his name and add the word fag. So my friend Adam Nemser was Nem-fag. That's his
Nem-fag.
Or you were a band fag, or a theater fag, or
And as George Carlin said in Occupation Fool, a fag was just a sissy. Like that was the meaning of the word. It just meant you're a sissy. It didn't have the hardcore homosexual content because we were calling each other fags before we had a concept of gay people.
But you knew generally that that's what it implied.
No,
I agree with Dana.
No, 5, 6, 7 years old.
It had not been sexualized at all.
Yeah.
And then I still say to my wife, she wants to hold hands. I'll say, I don't want to hold hands with you. People think I'm a fag.
Yeah, it's faggy.
It's my wife.
Yeah.
But I can't bring myself to do it.
Well, the other word in Boston that you would get a lot is retard.
Right.
Which also is now
can't say
highly
that.
offensive.
Yes.
Is now the R word. Retard is the R
really?
word.
Do they say
Oh, yeah,
that?
no, I got attacked on Twitter for saying it on a special.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Yeah, it's, I don't think you can equate it with the N word and the C word because
Right.
it is a word.
Mm-hmm.
It actually has meaning.
Sure.
N word and
Sure.
C word are only those words.
Right, okay.
Right.
Retarded growth, retarded.
You can still say
flamer.
those. Yeah.
It's a word.
Right.
And you can't just anoint a word as vile. I think it needs to. I think in a generation it will probably be up there. But
Yeah.
they're trying to get it going. We're trying to get a word vile. Work with us.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston. A working man's look at the socio-political issues of our day. And now, Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston. I'm Johnny Condon.
Robbie Sullivan here.
We're talking about the issues current to your life. We work for Bevel Aqua Heating and Air Conditioning. Bevel Aqua.
You know, we're cool if you're cool.
We're cool if you're cool. And they ain't cool
No.
because it's getting busy. It's starting to heat up.
Oh, my God. The other day I walk in, he's got a stack of papers and he's screaming at somebody. I'm like, oh, business is good.
Oh, business is good. I got to tell you, I don't like going into old people's apartments.
Oh, no. It's weird.
Everything smells like soup.
It's really weird. It's like mothballs and clothing all together.
Yeah.
Like, everything's weird. It's like the back of a car.
I had to go into this old person's apartment, and they haven't been outside in so fucking long. It's like opening up the mummy's tomb. It's like they open the door. It's like, and there's like a fish, and they have a pet that I think is extinct. That is a fucking coelacanth. You know what I fucking hate? Change the subject now.
Yeah.
I was over. Well, you didn't go because you were.
I was really sick. I was.
So you go to work and you sit in the truck. Don't take a sick day when you're sick.
I was already all heated up. I didn't want to go into a.
I'm gonna
air
get shit for
condition-
saying this. Don't be a retard.
All right.
Has nothing against the mentally handicapped.
You know, my boss calls me, and again, I'm not saying this, but he did. He called me a faggot for not showing up to work. You're calling me a retard. Let's just say I was half a fag, half a retard, all right?
Yeah, you were a fagtad.
I was at halfway, though. I wasn't full of anything. The way we grew up, there was like 9 things you could call somebody.
Yeah, 8 of them were fag, and
Yeah.
1 of them was retard.
Right. They're all the same word, and they're just a restructuring of it, and people are like, oh, I got a new one.
And it doesn't mean anything against people. I watch the Special Olympics. I get just
Oh, yeah.
as excited as at the regular Olympics.
I totally agree.
I
Very
want
nice.
them all to win. I
Yeah.
want them all to be happy.
Have
hug
you ever
everybody.
seen a person that was mentally challenged win an event?
Oh, they're happier than the regular
It
people.
is fantastic.
The regular guy's like, yeah, fuck you, and they
Right.
enjoy it. They
Yeah.
enjoy life.
They're like, oh, who's going to sponsor me? These other people are like, I just had the moment of my life.
yeah. Oh, I agree.
It's very nice.
People get upset because you never understand like the fact that I will say, look, I don't mean to retard. I'm just saying the word. But the
Yeah.
people from the families lose their fucking shit, buddy.
yeah.
And I'm getting shit from somebody like, fuck you, you do. And I realize like halfway through the argument that they're right,
Yeah.
but I still got to keep going
Yeah,
because
you
I'm
almost
too
said,
in.
You almost said douchebag there. You
Yeah.
notice no matter what, even if somebody knows one or there's one in their family or whatever, nobody defends them. A
No,
douchebag.
no.
No one says like, hey, my brother's a douchebag.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, what do? You know about him.
That it's so rare that
Yeah.
we get to help people.
Yeah.
From now on,
Be
instead
a
of calling,
service.
instead of calling people retards, call them douchebags.
Yeah, it's nicer.
Yeah. And then, we'll get a fucking angry letter from the douchebag Olympics.
Those are wonderful events.
Assholes.
Yeah.
It's just who can go out to dinner with a bunch of people and not chip in. It's all stuff that douchebags do every day.
Yeah.
Who can cut you off in traffic and then flip you off?
Yeah, exactly.
Do that the most.
Who can pull into your spot from the arrow pointing the wrong
Yeah.
way at the market?
It's just a bunch of guys having sex with chicks and then saying, oh, I'm married. I should get the fuck out of here.
Oh, I didn't tell you that? I thought you could tell. from the pictures that were all face down.
Yeah, you might have noticed that
Yeah.
I said, let's go back to my place, and I live in a Motel 6.
Yeah.
Who was the first fucking guy to do a brain surgery?
I bet you whoever the first guy was didn't bring it up because it didn't go well.
I'm sure. And it's done, and it's just some guy yelling at a pudding.
The first successful one, that guy jumped all over the
The
place.
first, but that's the thing. Only an arrogant motherfucker will go, yeah, I'll do surgery on your brain. Yeah, well, fine, it'll be great.
We're gonna build,
First guy to ever do it. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll do it.
You know what? We're gonna build a little camera and I'll run it.
Yeah, well, it'll be good. It'll be good.
You're gonna love it.
And the guy's like, how you doing? Tell me your name again. Red equals 5. Oh, shit.
Oh, geez, I don't think that's his name.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh,
It's
geez.
true, though. Some guy did it, and then now you get brain surgery tomorrow.
I don't want it.
I would be terrified.
Oh, I'm
I
scared.
would be terrified.
I look at the glass sometimes as someone who's had one, and I'm like, oh, geez.
I think it would be really funny, though, if you did have brain surgery, and then just to fuck with people, occasionally you just did a little things wrong.
just to make them wonder.
Yeah, so you'd eat corn like a banana. You
Yeah.
know, just like, that's it. Other than that, I'm totally fine, but I eat corn like a banana.
Yeah, you
Other
open-
than that, I'm completely good.
Yeah, I'm good. No worries.
Yeah.
I open up my water and I
Yeah.
pour it all over my chest.
Yeah, I cannot have an orgasm unless I think of fly fishing. Outside of that, I'm totally good.
Yeah, that actually seems like a weird thing.
I think I just described my father. He would much rather be fly fishing.
Oh, that's funny. Does that have anything to do with your mother?
I don't know. They stay out of each other's way.
Yeah, that's nice.
You know, they've been married for, I don't know, 50, 60 fucking years.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. And you know what their secret is?
What's that?
Lack of communication.
Oh, that's
They
nice.
don't deal with each other.
Yeah, there's nothing to build up and be stressful
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, it's like an oak tree and a chipmunk.
Oh,
They're
that's
both
nice.
in the forest. They don't really interact. It all works
Once
out.
in a while, he might run into the oak tree.
Yeah, they
or
bump
she
into
might-
each other for
yeah,
a while, but by and large,
Nothing.
nothing.
That's
It's like
nice.
if you read the history of Victorian erotica,
Yeah.
never is the phrase, well, now that we've been together for 21 years, let's really get down to business.
Let's do this.
Jesus Christ. That's why guys think, maybe I'll hook up a cow's heart to a cow battery, stick my dick in that and see what happens.
Oh, that's
They
weird.
caught a guy doing that.
No.
Oh, yeah. He is the pioneer of masturbatory brain surgery.
Oh, my
Some guy
God.
said, I'll cut open your head, I'll fix your brain, everything will be fine. And some asshole said, I'm going to hook up a cow's heart to a car battery and see what goes.
What?
I'm not lying. I'm not
That's
lying.
so weird.
Yeah.
I was just thinking courting someone is like the boot camp for the rest of your life. Like, because you fix your hair, you know, pick out these socks, wear this shirt, it looks better on you, do this, do
Right.
this, do this. And then they go, you know what? You passed.
Right.
And the trick is, you didn't win. What are you doing?
And here's how you know you're right. What do you do at the end of it when you get married? How do you go down the aisle? You march. It's the
march.
wedding march,
I
my
did
friend.
not even think of
march
that.
down the fucking aisle and salute.
Oh, Congdon, you're onto something there.
Yeah, you know you're in trouble when the
Oh,
father
yeah.
gives the bride away.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to whisper, she's your problem now.
This is not my problem anymore.
It's a big
Side of him,
handoff.
Right out of the side of his mouth as he walks past you back
That's
to his
right.
pew.
It's the fucking responsibility relay race of life.
Good luck with this.
Hand you off, your problem now. Hope she's not like her mother.
First word she ever said was, "What are you going to do for me?"
Here's the thing, and if I'm wrong, write in.
Yeah, let's get.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, you guys
I'll-
write in about everything else. Write in about this.
Write in,
Yeah.
and I'll read your letter on the air. And if you believe that, I'll tell you where you can find the fucking Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Okay, so supposedly it's a Jewish tradition.
Yeah.
The man and the girl, they go up in the room, they fuck, and she's supposed to be a virgin, so there's blood on the sheet, and then they have to show the sheet.
Mary, mother
Yeah,
of
and
God.
it's like, okay, now we can have chicken.
Oh my!
There
Who
are
sees
certain-
this? Everyone at the
Everybody at the
wedding?
party.
You got to be kidding
There
me!
are certain traditions that we still have we should dispense with.
Oh my God! I did not know that.
A lot of-
everyone at the wedding watches this. So is everyone down there waiting before they
Yes,
get cake?
yeah, they
Oh,
look at
my
their clock, hurry it
God.
up, chop, chop.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow.
No, thank you.
You know, so if they're not a virgin, God bless them.
Oh, yeah, you got to steal some ketchup
That's
packets
what I
on
was
the
going
way.
to say. Is
Yeah.
who's fixing that up?
We're
Who's
going to
the-
go in. We're
That
going to
seems
do it
like
now.
That seems
Quick-
like a business opportunity here in 2012.
Quick
because-
stop at Jack in the Box, and then we're
Yeah.
going to run upstairs,
Oh my God!
and then they're just squeaking out ketchup packets.
You know what? God bless them for whatever they do to cover.
Yeah.
I say good for them.
That's actually the biggest problem facing our society today.
Yeah.
Is blood packet substitutes
Yeah.
for Jewish weddings with non-virgins.
It's a special effects package you can buy with your Judaistic marriage.
Well, that was the origin of the yarmulke. is that they would hide ketchup packets in it.
I didn't know that.
Before they go upstairs to screw.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's
geez.
really true.
Is that what they call it, a yarmulke, or is it talus?
I think it's called a yarmulke.
Oh, maybe the scarf, the talus, they call it. Maybe that's got ketchup packets in it, too.
Probably.
I'm learning a lot today.
Well, people don't realize that most of the traditions of Judaism are devoted to the concealment of ketchup packages.
Is Sears still open?
Yeah, I don't know if they still have the catalog,
The
but
one on Route
it's
9
still
is
around.
closed.
Oh, did it close?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Is it a big empty building?
It's a big ghost tank.
I fucking love deserted malls.
Yeah, them are nice.
Yeah, you can go in there and it's like, this is the fountain where I spent the summer of 1983 trying to get my first cop of feel,
Yeah.
and now it's just filled with predatory owls.
We used to lock our bikes, go in there, and just enjoy the air conditioning.
Oh, yeah. I would love to ride my bike around an empty fucking mall.
That
That's
would
what
be
I'm going to
good.
do.
I like that idea.
Unfortunately, you use your sick day for being sick, but I'm going to use my sick
I was
day.
actually sick.
I know, but I went to
Condon.
work sick.
Please don't tell the boss.
I went to work sick, and I'm going to go buy a BMX, and I'm going to go to the deserted Natick Mall and fucking
yeah.
play Dawn of the Dead until my head aches.
Do it.
All right, that's all I need to know about interfaith squabbles.
Yeah.
I'm Johnny Condon.
I'm Robbie Sullivan. Hope you learned something.
That's all she wrote.
Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
My dad was a baseball player, and he actually was scouted by the Cleveland Indians to play on their farm team, and instead enlisted in the Army because his best friend had just been killed in Korea. So I had to play Little League. I had no choice. I had to play, and I hated it. And my last year of Little League, there was a game, and I was left field. I was like the dumbass. I was next to chasing butterflies, whatever is the least harmless position you could play. And,
Professional dreamer.
yeah, I was dreamer on deck, cup stacker. There was like a flu epidemic, and the pitchers were all sick, and I pitched the game. And we lost 52-0. Game called on account of darkness at the bottom of the second.
Oh, my God.
Bottom of the second.
Yeah, and the coach was this guy, I don't want to say his name, Mr. Schmidt.
Did
Mr.
you not
Schmidt.
have your sinker working, or?
I was thinking
I
the
had
same
never,
thing.
but here's the thing, I had never pitched. I was literally the last 2 hours on the mound bawling uncontrollably.
No.
Oh yeah, it was
Psych out.
It was so humiliating, and he wouldn't call the game because he was 5'2", so he couldn't call the game
Right.
because it wasn't about me. It was about the fact that he was short and he wasn't gonna quit. And to this day, when I see him, he's like, "I never threw in the towel." Like, yeah, and I've said this to him. That's nothing to be proud of, Mr. Schmidt. You tortured a child because of your own inabilities. And he looks at me like I'm speaking gibberish, like he doesn't know. He
So
works
you
for
were
He worked
pitching-
for the water department. It's like I said, gleep, glop, gloop, gleep, gleep, glorp. Like he doesn't know what I'm saying.
You were pitching through tears.
Oh, I was,
Like you were
sobbing hysterically. And
And then pitching.
yes, and I had a...
So funny.
And it was the mid-'70s. And it was the era of the colored baseball glove.
Right.
And I had a bright blue baseball glove.
Why isn't this a short film?
I don't know. It's so painful.
So funny.
I had a bright blue baseball glove. The game was finally called on darkness, and I left my glove on the mound and just drove away. And I remember looking over my shoulder and seeing like everybody leaving this just glove alone on the mound. But the city returned it because we had an irony ordinance. I'm sorry, that's far too ironic. Get that off the mound. That's too ironic. But what's amazing is, like, to this guy who equates his masculinity with his lack of height, which is another thing we can get into. Like, to him, it was good that he tortured a child. That proved that he was a man, that he never quit the game.
right?
No, it is insane. And it wasn't until I'm like 20s. It's like, well, that's nuts.
You finally realized.
Well, you
in your
never think
20s.
about it. And then, like,
Yeah.
in my 20s, I look back and I'm like, what was wrong with him?
Wow.
It's like my mother used to chase us around with a board. I've told this story. My mother had a board that she used. It had a handle carved into it, and she would use it to stuff clothes in the washing machine. And if we would really get out of line, I'll get the board. And she would chase us around with this board and whack us on the ass with this board. And then when I was older, I just think, like, you just realize things like, you know, eating an ice cream cone when you're 25
Yeah.
and then like, what the fuck was the deal with the board?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it'll just come back into your mind.
My mom had a wooden spoon, and when I
too.
think
Yeah.
back at that, I'm like, wait a minute, because I now stir things with the wooden spoon again, not to hurt or brag, and I look at this fucking thing, and I'm like, how did
We
this,
all know who you are.
I know. We know how much money you make.
How did this scare me?
My mom had a wooden spoon too.
Yeah, it hurts.
terrifying.
That's why it hurts. And I remember calling my brother Kevin, who's the only brother I call. I was like, remember the board? He goes, oh, yeah. Did I ever tell you what happened to the board? I go, no. He goes, oh, yeah. I was like 16, and Ma came at me with it. And I just grabbed the end of it and took it out of her hand, and I said, did you want this?
Oh, that's the moment.
That's the moment, yeah.
when things turn.
Yeah. Did you want this?
My mother had the wooden spoon as well, but it was this old wooden spoon that she'd stirred, years of horrible tasting food with.
Potions.
Yeah.
Spells and potions.
And so one day I was being a real dick to my youngest brother, and my mother came out and was threatening me with a wooden spoon, and I wouldn't stop. And she goes, I'm going to hit you with the spoon. And I was challenging her, and she took a swing and hit me in the chin with the wooden spoon, but it was so old it snapped. So then she was there with the handle of the wooden spoon. I just remember going, you broke your spoon.
Oh, that was a moment
Are
for
you
you.
happy? And her powers were gone. She was just like, and she just dropped the handle and went back in the house. And I thought it was hilarious because she then clearly thought she could never discipline me again because this old piece of crap spoon had broken. But it changed the dynamic completely. And I felt like a badass because I'd survived getting hit by basically a splinter that smelled like goulash.
Joel, you went in the Army for 3 days? How did you get that deal?
Dishonorable discharge, I'm guessing.
In the first 3 hours that I was there, before I'd done any physical
Did they
activity.
cut your hair?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did the whole thing.
Did you learn some stuff about yourself?
Oh, yeah.
I bet. I'm really fascinated by that.
Yeah, the head shaving? It's
Well,
like
just the boot camp, like the first 3 days of boot camp.
Yeah. The first 3 hours before I did any physical activity, it was hot, and I was wearing a lot of layers of clothing, and I locked my knees, but I fainted for the first time in my life. I locked my knees, so the blood was.
Yeah. I don't know how to faint.
Not
Yeah,
intentionally.
I didn't either. Not intentionally. I didn't know what happened. I just woke up daintily into the arms of a soldier who was holding me.
You motherfucker. Because they're like, since Private Stein has decided to take a nap,
We're all going
to run 20 miles with a full field pack. I had 2 brothers in the Army, so I know a lot about
What branch of the service? That
the
was
Army. They were in the Army.
The Army.
Sharpshooters in the Berlin Brigade.
Wow.
Over in Berlin. Because they were raised hunting. They were great marksmen.
But that's not usually the Army's way, by the way.
Well, they were actually...
Usually the Army does not go, oh, who are good marksmen? Let's find them. Usually they go, hey, you play the violin? Yeah, pick up a rifle. You're going to be a sharpshooter. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to how they do shit.
They were in the
There's
Army.
a test. There's the ASVAB, which is like the man SATs that you take when you sign up for the Army.
Well, they were in the Army in the late 70s when it was first and foremost, here's how you cook cocaine. Then, here is your rifle.
So wait, what's the ASVAB?
It's like the man SATs. It's this test you take, and if you do well in many of these subjects, you can then get certain jobs in the Army.
Did you take this test in your 3 days?
And I am a great test taker, and I got rocked. I got killed on this test.
Really?
Yeah,
what were the questions like?
Oh my God, there'd be questions like
You are being raped by a turkey.
No.
What part of its neck do you pinch? See, to me in the test, I would be ready like the albino gorilla with the horn in Star Trek. The Magato. What is it?
What is? He's doing the Jeopardy version of every test. Nothing can be separated from media by more than one instance.
No.
In what Star Trek movie did Captain Kirk destroy the Enterprise? False. It was the Enterprise D. Next question. False. That is a trick question. It was the Enterprise D. That's a trick question. It was the Enterprise D in The Search for Spock, 1983. Next question.
True or false? What is?
The sex SATs. Truth or dare? What?
The questions are all about how many diodes you'd need, or when you're building a bridge, like about welding. Like there were just things I didn't know about at all.
See, that's my fear, that if it was just people like me, we would have been a communist country in 1950.
Oh, yeah.
My communist relatives.
Because again, World War II would have just been where I eventually start screaming, stop fighting me.
I have 2 communist relatives who joined the military to subvert the Army from the inside.
What year was that?
This is 1985.
Don't you have to take a loyalty oath?
Yeah, he lied on that.
Oh, okay.
You have to do that for the Boy Scouts too. There was a little oath in the end when I got my badge.
Yeah, a loyalty oath.
And there was an oath about believing in God. Which, Which was a problem.
Well,
as an atheist.
that's currently come up. That is where I, as a lefty, roll my eyes at the ACLU when they attack the Boy Scouts for that. They're like, ugh, who gives a fuck?
Right,
There's a lot of who gives a fuck.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you're so smart don't you know that perception matters? Like that guy on MSNBC this weekend who said he had a problem calling dead
heroes.
soldiers
Yes.
heroes because if it's an unjust war, it's like, here, I'm going to pour you a glass of shut the fuck up and just drink it.
Drink from that.
The people that died on 9/11 weren't all heroes. They went to work. The cheapening of words. If I went to work in the World Trade Center on September 11th and I was killed in the attacks, I am now called a hero.
Right.
So what about a hero? What about the firemen that ran into the building?
Right.
No, they have to be superheroes.
Then what about the Flash and Aquaman?
What about the Hulk? They have to be now super duper heroes.
This is my problem with the term porn star.
Right.
Can't
Yes.
you just be a journeyman porn actor?
Right. You move from actor to star. That's why if you are thinking about getting into show business, I advise you to go into porn because you can make the jump to star so much faster.
I used to interview porn stars a lot when I lived in San Francisco because I was on this radio station Live 105. And it is like interviewing a lizard sunning itself on a rock. Just like this glass, just like, no, there's nothing.
I saw a couple at the Smokehouse one time. It was like the
Interesting choice of
and,
words.
and it was like the porn star social. They were oddly disconnected from their physical. They touched each other in real weird. They did not fuck each other as you would think they would do
At the Smokehouse.
Yes, no, right. They just
Everyone
kind
else is
of
at
they
the
sort of
Smokehouse.
very tentatively danced together and made weird eye contact, and they were so suggestively dressed. Yet so prudish in their behavior. I swear to God. Now, maybe I was reading something into it.
They
but
saved
that's
that
what
for work.
That's what I saw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will say I did a radio show with a porn star who had my name, named Dana Day Armand.
She's famous.
And she was great. You know, where are you from? Florida. Natch. Then everything was explained.
Father issue? No.
No.
Just Florida. Florida will do it
Just
to you.
Florida.
Yeah.
Florida.
No, she was great. I'd love to have her on the show.
What is? What do
That'll
you
be
mean-
good. Let me pitch that to my wife.
In
Yeah,
what ways
that'll
was
be
she
good.
great?
Hey, honey, I have a porn star in the
Did she
back
give
house.
you? What were the insights? Like what? Could
Nothing,
she
but
tell
we
you?
had a completely normal conversation.
What are the
Eye
insights you're giving, huh?
No, just like
What are your
I
insights?
never claimed.
just stuff like eye contact.
funny gorilla joke.
You know, we talked about music, eye contact. You know, restaurants. It was a completely normal conversation.
Porn stars eat and enjoy music too.
She does. Yeah.
So not all of them.
Yeah. And then you look at, what does she do? Ah! Then yeah, she's not even in the movie anymore. She's at the bottom of that pile. What did you end up doing? Did they wake you up at 5 a.m. with banging a trash can, call you maggot?
Yeah.
How much like Full Metal Jacket?
Can they
is it?
swear at you? Do they swear at you?
It's a weird rule that they do not call you a curse name, but they curse.
You can do it.
You climb that obstacle like old people fuck is fine. But
Right.
you stupid fucker is not okay. And this was some congressional kind of suggestion. There's not any homophobic slurs, which I was impressed by.
Oh, this is all going to be new because I know it was there before.
It must have been, but they were
Yeah,
really...
Steers and Queers out of Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
That I remember.
Yeah, no more of that.
I wonder if that was congressionally mandated around the time of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, or if just everybody sort of at the same idea thought, this isn't right.
Yeah, that's us.
They're just people. They just want to love somebody. What's wrong? What's wrong with that?
They scream at you all the time. Like when you're pissing, you have to piss faster. They count down in your ear while you're pissing. If you're eating, if you look up, you get screamed at. Your hat's on slightly the wrong angle, you get screamed at. You're just getting screamed at all day long.
And the whole point of screaming at you like that is just to break you down, to break down your individuality and form you into a cohesive unit, right?
And to kind of get you ready for stress so that you can do anything under a lot of stress.
Okay.
But it's so stressful. I've
But
never dealt with
how much would you fuck them up if you just went, I really want to thank you for creating this stressful situation because it's going to help me operate better under stress, and that will come in handy later on in my career in the Army.
You'd be doing so many push-ups right now.
You'd have a glass jaw.
But I found out my dad had always told me the story that after boot camp, when he was training to be in gunnery, he punched his sergeant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his sergeant grabbed the letter he was writing and started reading it to make fun of him. It was to his parents. My dad punched him and was going to get court-martialed. But I didn't realize what a psycho my dad is until I experienced it myself and realized how far I was. It would be like being at a May Day parade and punching Stalin. Like there's
Yeah. The sergeant is God.
Yeah, as far as you can get from normal behavior. That's as far as you can get.
Yeah. But to me, it was
And how did he not get court-martialed?
Well, first they just
He
wanted
had to write a letter. He wrote a lovely letter.
It was charming.
Yeah.
Beautiful letter.
Beautiful stationery.
The judge read the letter. Dear Mom.
Brian.
I was just thinking of your apple brown Betty. And how delicious your cooking is. Case dismissed. If a sergeant, no, I want you to make fun of his
You know,
mother.
you talk about the
They just
cheapening-
turn it on the sergeant. Sergeant, would you stand up in front of this courtroom and make fun of this man's mom? I can't, sir. His mom represents all that is good. If I may have my firearm. There's only one thing for you to do, Sergeant. Oh, no. Stay clear. There's going to be a lot of brains.
They could stop him. They're not stopping
No,
him.
it's
Really.
the only thing he can do.
I did stuff with the Marines and the Army. I was like, I
Oh,
hope
the
they-
Marine boot camp. I can't even. That's
Wait
like
a
going
minute.
to prison for me.
Yeah, how many did you do?
Well, I only did 3 real days, but the Marines brought me through training alone through a bunch of their stuff.
Okay.
But
So
with,
they were
with the
actually
Army,
nicer.
it's
Hey, buddy.
It's like a hotel. You get a private.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
It was mostly kind of inauthentic to do it without a troop.
Yeah.
But it was still intense because they're screaming at you.
Yeah.
Like, you know it's fake and you know you're there as a journalist and you can leave at any time, but it's like a haunted house. It's still scary. You know what I mean? It's people really yelling at you.
And there's a lot of dry ice fog. And you're
Cold
surrounded
spaghetti.
by a junior high school drama club in zombie makeup.
Peeled grape.
There is nothing on this earth that makes me happier than being in a low rent haunted house in the month of October.
Yeah.
I clear my calendar out. I think I'm going on the road like 3 days this October, early in the month, and then I'm home.
You're available.
I am home and available. I am going to haunted houses.
Pitch that show. America's Haunted Houses with Dana Gould.
Because it'd ruin it.
Have you done the Christian one?
I was in the cast of that when we did it at the we did it for the Center for Inquiry, which is the Skeptical Inquirer. It's the theater for the Skeptical Inquirer. We bought the rights to the Christian haunted house,
And you did it straight, or you did?
and we did it straight. And hipsters came. Yeah, I was the evil abortion doctor,
Oh my god!
and then I was the rave rapist, and my line was, "She's out, let's rape her."
She's out.
Yeah, it was literally like
No,
a girl
she's out
goes
of
to
the
a
house.
rave.
Yeah.
Girl goes to a rave. Somebody gives her a cup. She drinks it. And 30 seconds later, she sits on the couch, and I go, "She's out. Let's rape her." Because that's exactly how it goes. She's out. Let's rape her. And I would say it just flat. Jack Webb. She's out. Let's rape her.
That's not how it goes.
That's not how it goes.
You guys seem to know a lot about
what
how
about
rapes
the
go.
dance? There's a dance to being roofied.
There's a pas de deux.
There's a pas de deux to being roofied. I'm sure. It's not just so cut
I am
and
glad to
dry.
have boys, though, because I am. Look, there's such a double standard.
I'll murder.
There's such a
I
double
will
standard.
murder
My son
any
just
man
went to
that
the
ever
prom,
goes near my daughter.
and there's that.
Till they're 40.
He must get lots of girls. He does okay. I nudge and nod and wink. And I'm like, what would that be if that was my daughter? Oh, yeah, she gets plenty of cock. She's so proud of her. She's doing great.
Oh my God.
I can't imagine doing it.
God.
Yeah, boy, look at her. Whew. They're coming in and out of here.
It's like the snakes in that scene from Raiders.
Sweetie, one at a time.
My God.
I got paddled at school. In North Carolina, there was a paddle list at the end of every lunch hour. You came back from lunch, and they read the names of the kids who had misbehaved during the morning, and that sort of eased you into the afternoon. They would read the same names every day, and
they would get
paddled. And there was this kid named Eiley Carter who smelled like urine. He smelled like Brooklyn on August 20th, as you talked about.
Right.
And he would every day. The teacher, Miss Plum, would go, "Eiley, come forward." And Eiley would come forward, and he would he literally had overalls. And she would lower his overalls.
really take down your pants.
Yeah. The girls just lifted their skirts.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And what year was this?
This is 1968. 68. 67. 67. And he would go.
And the kids are already into spanking? Now, do they jack off during the spanking, like at the clubs I go to, or do they have to go to later?
They came to the house.
Already.
Every day he would go, "Teacher, no! Teacher, no!"
Really?
And then she would paddle him with a paddle.
How? Like,
And it
how
only
hard
happened
for
to me
how
one
long?
time. It only happened to me one time.
What did you do to get paddled?
I must have been talking.
Is there underwear? Like, is there underwear facing their class?
They're on your.
Keep
she
your
would,
underwear
She
on.
would lay them over her. She would turn them over her knee.
Holy shit.
If I could, yes, it's the South. Can you believe this is a culture that won't allow gays to get married? This is North Carolina. When I came to Boston and they weren't doing that, I was like, this is a real soft culture up here. They don't know how to.
Why do we venerate Lincoln? Like,
Yeah.
we should have let that place go as a separate country.
Yeah.
We had a shop teacher. We're speaking about manliness. His name was Marty March, and this is a perfect impression. He would be like, "I'm Marty March. That's exactly what he sounded like.
A little Kermity?
Yeah, but it was like sort of strained. And he had a thing called the wall of shame in the shop, that the only way he would treat you with respect is if you got your hands way too close to one of those bandsaws.
Jesus
but
H.
literally like up to the blade. And he would have you press a 2x4 and he'd say, keep going, keep going.
Holy hell.
It was basically almost sawing your thumb off. And then if you did it, he would hit the power button and it would stop the saw. And he would take a photo of you and put it on the wall. But every photo with these faded photos over the years of kids that were just flipped out because they almost sawed their thumbs off.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Our woodshop teacher was so safety conscious.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
they usually are
Yeah,
overly.
but he was great.
No.
And then he died of a heart attack in his pool, which made us think like, well, why did he go into the pool when he had a heart attack? Like, we didn't realize it probably happened while he was swimming. We thought he was in the middle of a heart attack and went swimming. What's the safety there, dude?
He brought in a lamp so he could read in the pool.
He went swimming without his goggles.
Yeah, our hometown is like symbolism central. There's my baseball glove. There's the safety freak who died of a heart attack in his pool, and a police officer in our hometown who died of autoerotic asphyxiation, whose last name was Lovejoy.
This is Hopedale?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah. Shining beacon.
Auto-
Jewel in the crown of Blackstone Valley.
I love the autoerotic asphyxiation stories. I could just hear them all day.
I am so
Yes.
sexually effed up, you know, just from a
Me too,
Catholic,
man.
Not from where I'm sitting.
crazy Catholic upbringing. And it's just like 90% shame, 9% guilt, 1% healthy attitude towards sex.
And fight that 1%.
Yeah, and fight it down. But even that to me is like, what?
Oh, the erotic
Yeah. Like people into feet. I'm like, what?
Oh, my
That's
God.
even weird to me. That's even weird
I just
to
try to
me.
watch soft porn and come at it from that
Yeah.
angle.
Interesting
You know what
choice
I mean?
of words. As Bill Hicks would say, bobbing hairy man ass. That's what I want to see.
I just try to watch film of you watching soft porn. And if I can get some copies of that, I go crazy.
I tell the story of the Mother's Day Massacre. When I was 9 years old, my dad worked as a bartender at night, and some girls came in, some underage girls, trying to buy some bar bottles to
Right.
go drinking because they figured he wouldn't card them because it wasn't a liquor store. And then my father knew their girls' boyfriends, and when they came in later, he said, and this is before Welcome Back, Kotter, when sweat hogs was just a very derogatory term. He said, don't send your sweat hog girls in here to buy booze without an ID. And the guys were like 18 and 19, and my dad was like 42 at this point. Challenged him to a fight. And I was like, fine. Just walked behind the bar, and then somebody called our house, like, you better get down here. Your dad's in trouble. And we lived like 10 minutes away. And my two oldest brothers, who were all-state baseball players, like huge. My brother's nickname was Bear. And they drive up, and by the time they get there, my dad's being held down by two guys, and the third guy's kicking him in the face.
Oh.
Teenage
So-
guys.
There was a
Yeah.
third guy involved.
Well, that's where the story gets interesting. So my one brother runs up to the guy with the long hair, because it's 74 or whatever,
Yeah.
who's kicking my dad in the mouth, spins him around, and sees that it's the girl, and decks her anyway.
He decks her anyway, of course.
She just kicked out my dad's front teeth. So
Oh, my.
he put her down,
Oh,
and then
Took a
and
nap.
then the instigator. The instigator. I have weird macho pride about it, even though I wasn't there.
It's
and,
the best.
yeah, family stuff is
yeah.
always so
The
intense.
instigator was chased into the woods and carried out by ambulance attendees.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, that's the story I got.
Oh.
And my dad, to his credit, goes, yeah, I still see him driving around. He still won't say hi to me. He still won't look at me. Yeah. I saw him up at the donut shop last week. He still won't look at me.
That guy is a badass.
Yeah, my dad is There's another story. I remember I was talking to my girlfriend. This is years ago. My girlfriend's father was, he ran a television station in Northern California. And he had just like sat on a panel with Woody Allen or just some weird thing that was this very like cool intellectual thing. At the same time, I get a phone call, and it's my mother telling me that while the guys were hunting today, my brother shot a deer and winged it and didn't kill it. So my other brother chased it down, caught it, and holding it by its antlers, drowned it in a stream.
No.
And then, hang on, somebody else is having lunch with Woody Allen. I'll get right back to you. Here's a manly thing that I don't get. Giving your son your name and then making him add Junior to the end of it.
Just a simple, easy way of ensuring your child go through their entire life feeling that they are, at best, nothing more than a lesser version of you. To men who would do this to their children, I say, get over yourself. You had an orgasm. It's no great achievement. Think about the life sentence that is the name Frank Sinatra Jr. How is that anything other than child abuse? It's as if John Lennon made his son perform in a band, but he forced them to call themselves the Other Beatles. Good luck, guys. Now, there is one famous junior who wanted nothing to do with his father's name. In fact, he wasn't even born with it. He was forced to take it later in life just to put food on the table. Lon Chaney Jr., the star of the original The Wolfman. He was born Creighton Tull Chaney. Now, he was the son of Lon Chaney, who we will now call Lon Chaney Sr., who was known across the globe in the 1920s as the Man of 1,000 Faces. Lon Chaney Sr. was one of the biggest movie stars of the silent era. So famous, in fact, that when he died in 1930, his passing did not just make the front page of the New York Times. It was the headline. Creighton Tull Chaney had some daddy issues, believe you me. In fact, he didn't even think about going into acting until after his dad was safe in the ground. The name Junior didn't come until studio heads at Universal convinced him that after years of struggling as Creighton, he could increase his income by about 1,000,000% by changing his name to his dad's. So he did, around 1935. And he never forgave himself. Despite scoring a pretty big win as the simpleton Lenny in 1939's Of Mice and Men with Burgess Meredith, Lon Jr. spent his early career giving uninspired performances in uninspired westerns. Unlike his father, who was a flamboyant theatrical artiste, Lon Jr. fancied himself just a regular Joe, a ham and egger. He liked nothing more than drinking, wrestling, drinking, and drinking, and drinking. This might not have helped his liver much, but it did lead to the performance that would define his career. In 1941, Lon Chaney Jr. won the role of Larry Talbot, otherwise known to the world as the Wolfman. And he gave the role a sense of emotional heft that towered over any other performance he would ever give. Larry Talbot knew that when the moon was full, he was powerless over his actions, and he would wake up the next morning in disheveled clothes, not knowing what he did or where he'd been. For Lon, who waged a lifelong battle with very real liquid demons, the role fit him like a beer koozie. Now, when I was a kid, the Wolfman was my favorite monster. You see, unlike Godzilla or Frankenstein or even King Kong, who you could say are about anarchy, just smashing things, the Wolfman is about guilt. Shame and guilt. And I can relate. On the one hand, I was raised a very strict Catholic. And on the other hand, well, you can imagine what was going on the other hand, hence all the shame and guilt. Now, if you haven't seen the original 1941 version of The Wolfman, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, you should give it a look. It's great. There are some goofy things. For one, in the movie, Larry Talbot is the son of an English nobleman, Sir John Talbot, played by Claude Rains.
No, Larry, but isn't it a sad commentary on our relationship that it took a hunting accident and your brother's death to bring you?
That is Sir John Talbot. And now here is his son. Listen to Lon Chaney Jr.'s expert British accent.
Well, it really isn't as bad as it sounds. I watched every bit of news about you. I was mighty proud when you won the Belden Prize for Research.
My God, he sounds just like Ringo. The Wolfman is full of father-son conflicts. Here's a spoiler alert. It's Larry's own father in the film who kills his son in the end. But the movie made Lon a star. And over the course of the next few years, Lon Chaney Jr. played every monster Universal Studios had. Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy. And he brought to those roles pretty much nothing. His job in the Frankenstein and the Mummy movies was to just walk around. And he did literally that, giving the roles none of the silent poetry that Boris Karloff seemed to so effortlessly give them. But every time he played the Wolfman, which he did 4 more times in the 1940s, that oh-so-haunted look would return to those big, sad, rummy eyes, and he knocked it out of the park every time. Lon Chaney Jr. ended his career in schlocky B-movies, Stuff like 1959's The Alligator People, where he has classic lines like,
Dirty, stinking, slimy gators. You bit my hand off, didn't you? Hell, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life killing gators. The rest of my life.
Seems like an odd thing to dedicate yourself to.
I ain't never gonna stop shooting gators.
You know what I think is a fun hobby? Doing puzzles.
I ain't never gonna stop shooting gators.
There's another great bit in here that I'm going to throw in, apropos of nothing. When the heroine of the film realizes the result of the mad scientist's evil experiments.
Your patients are turning into alligators.
Alligator people.
Oh, alligator people. See, if they were just alligators, that would be fucked up. Lon Chaney Jr. died of heart failure in 1973. Because silent movies are not really enjoyed in the masses, he has easily eclipsed his father in the fame department, although Lord only knows what was going on in that head of his. His friends describe him as a sweet, yet terribly sad man.
The way you walked was thorny, through no fault of your own. But as the rain enters the soil, the river enters the sea. So tears ran to a predestined end.
Ah, the Wolfman. You gotta see it.
I ain't never gonna stop shooting gators.
I know. I couldn't go hunting.
Oh, never.
I couldn't now.
I could hunt idiots, but like big loud
Morons?
people that come to comedy shows and spend
Yeah.
the night taking photos of themselves and their girlfriends at the table
With the
being
souvenir
disruptive.
glass.
Yeah, I could kill those people.
Yeah, me too.
But I couldn't kill a deer. What's the deer
Me
done?
neither.
Poop a lot.
I know this is going to come out wrong, but I could definitely go hunting for dong. You know what I mean?
I don't mean that
you.
to sound gay.
Why would you think that would come out wrong?
Well, because I'm
That's
staring
so
at you while I'm
beautifully
saying
put.
it. Yeah. I'm burning a hole in you in those beautiful eyes while I say it.
I've often held that there is nothing straighter than two heterosexual men getting it on. It's just double the straight. That's all I see it as.
You're just saying the hunting thing. The super fast story is I was only given one lesson in my entire life on what it's like to be a man. Nobody's ever given me the birds and the bees story or anything. I had an uncle who I won't say his name, but to condense a very long story, I went out into a game park with some friends of mine with 22s, and my friend's gun went off while we were standing there and shot me in the foot. And it's a longer story, but we hiked out of there and then were arrested by the game warden guys because other people were shooting windshields of cars that passed by. It was not us. But while they were writing us up, I was in the back of this cop car.
Slowly bleeding to death.
Not slowly, like bleeding. There was a hole probably the size of like an apricot in my shoe and my foot, and I was bleeding out in their car.
You didn't say anything
I
about
didn't
it?
say anything because I thought if I say something, I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And I just got to like keep quiet. So long story short.
Meanwhile, the blood is rising up like you're going to drown in it. Like,
why are you drowning in our car? So
you're just breathing at the top of the...
So the end of this story is I didn't want my parents to find out, so I went and took the little fold-out file on a nail clipper. I took that and tried to dig the bullet out of my foot.
Oh! You had a bullet in your foot. This is very manly.
Yeah, and almost passed out. It got infected anyways. Long story short, I was telling this to my uncle, and he was so impressed that I didn't tell the cops that I just sat there in the back and, like a man, just sort of like bled out with a bullet in my foot and then tried to dig it out. That my street cred with him, even though it was insane and I could have lost my foot through infection, whatever it is, my street cred with him went through the roof. So even now, he loves me getting shot in the foot story. It has nothing to do with my health, but he just thinks that that's the day I became a man, is I kept quiet, bled all over a cop car, tried to dig it out.
So it's about pain being a man.
Yeah,
like it's about pain.
Yeah. To that end, my most manly accomplishment then would be my 14 hours in the dentist chair, then driving 2.5 hours.
That's an amazing story.
And doing a killer show.
That is kind of domesticated manliness, dealing with stuff like that.
I had to change my credit card on 5 different websites.
That's very
How did
manly.
you do it? Yeah. Rippling muscles, that's how.
I had to wait here 6 hours for the delivery guy alone.
Yeah. And even in my, I love James Bond movies. I love Clint Eastwood movies. I have a...
Unforgiven.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Oh, Dirty Harry. I could watch Dirty Harry on a loop.
Really?
Yeah, because although I'm not like a macho person, I'm full of rage.
That's it. Yeah.
You know?
I watch hockey fights. There's actually a hockey fight website.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I like to, by the way, masturbate to, are hockey fights, because porn is very predictable to me. Hockey fights are unpredictable, and it's the unpredictability that makes me orgasm.
Do you orgasm?
I need things to be unpredictable in the sack.
That's why I masturbate during musical chairs.
Do you find yourself like willing the muscles around your balls to clench to keep it shut for a second when they pull the jerseys over the other guy's head? And it's like, I think he's got an advantage on this guy, but it could go anywhere. Like, I just need to hang on and see how this ends.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I have some DVDs in my car for you. You were saying Dirty Harry. Who is a manly, like a truly manly guy today? Is it
these days
Harrison
in the movies?
Ford? Yeah, like who?
Clooney is great. He's got that like suave manliness. Oh yeah,
Jason Statham.
But I can't watch his fucking movies.
I've never seen one, but you can tell like he's the guy now that just like
Transporter.
So
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig
is
too.
a badass too.
Who, by the way, I was at a party, big showbiz party, and I'm standing in a spot. And then a second later, I was standing 7 feet away from that spot. And somebody went, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And Daniel Craig had bumped into me and sent me flying.
Wow. Is that for real?
He is
He's all
just
muscle.
a fucking
rock.
Now,
Wow.
supposedly what he does is he goes into this like sub-zero chamber where you can really shred your muscles and you don't feel it. Like you can work out at like super...
He doesn't have a bad back then, because I today tried to do like 10 sit-ups.
Yeah.
And I was just worried about my back.
I lifted a gallon of milk and had to be helicoptered out of a Ralph's.
No, but I hear now. Craig, how old do you think he is?
He's in his 30s. At some point.
He's only in his 30s. He looks older to me.
Yeah, well, he looks like
older.
he looks like a shoe.
Yeah, 'cause he's like beef jerky. He's like
Yeah.
with beautiful blue eyes, might I add.
Yeah, but he's just like
You like blue eyes.
He could kill you.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
sure.
he could just kill you.
But that's part of being the big movie star, tough guy. You have to. You can't just.
I
be
never
like,
ever thought Roger Moore could kill anybody. Like that was the difference.
That's
Like,
true.
Roger
Yeah.
Moore was just so flippant and wry.
Yes.
There's $20. Buy yourself a raspberry Tizer.
David Niven too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Hello. My. And even when he does try to kill people in the Bond movies, it's always like he presses a button and they get sucked into a blender. Like he never just wrings somebody's neck, which is what everybody wants.
Timothy Dalton wasn't really a
wasn't that great
badass either.
No. He was like the badass from the Shakespearean acting class.
Who's the badass in sitcoms today?
Whitney Cummings.
Yeah.
Whitney Cummings.
It doesn't work for comedy. Like, shredded comedians, it just doesn't work.
That's right.
Yeah.
I knew that.
You know, I mean, I know that
Carrot
there are some comedians that are in amazing shape. Like, you know, Joe Rogan is in really great shape.
Oh yeah,
and
Rogan.
stuff, but
Rogan combines that UFC stuff.
Yeah.
With comedy. Which
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
very
I don't know how
A
that
natural
works.
match.
Because to me, and I like Joe, and Joe's really funny,
Yeah.
but I
Nice guy.
don't. I can't figure that out because you're supposed to be vulnerable to a comedian. To me, a comedian is the guy that talks his way out of the fight, not that gets into the fight and kicks the shit out of everybody. But it's just a different school.
But are guys like Dane Cook, are they viewed as manly guys? Are they like they have a very specific type of present day macho, but are they viewed as manly, or is it just attitude? Are they like aggro guys?
Yeah, probably more that. I
More.
don't consider him a comedian. I consider him
Right.
more of an inspirational speaker for people who don't want to do anything.
Well, that's a different show.
It's true. It's
I
just-
agree.
it's
I
just
agree
about,
with
like,
you.
know,
I agree.
You will see him for an hour, and you will be so pumped up to walk around a mall and get a yogurt and look at chicks for 4 hours. It's like,
I would love to be pumped
interesting
up.
ways to give people the finger.
Yes.
The super fan.
People like it. I don't knock it. Not my
Yeah.
cup of tea. I would feel that weird about like having a son. I only have daughters because I wouldn't know what to do. Like, hey,
With a
Dad, I
son?
want to go play baseball. Well, there's a Twilight Zone marathon on.
Son, you have to learn how to cry on a mound.
Take this
There's a lot of
guy.
double entendres there
You should
as
be
well.
able to tell a Richard Matheson Twilight Zone from a George Clayton Johnson Twilight Zone within the first 4 minutes. So
Hilarious.
don't come in here telling me what I want to do. Now, if you could find my crayons, I'd greatly appreciate that.
That would be interesting if you had a kid. Wouldn't you like make the effort to like get into baseball? Like, would you do that?
I guess
or
if-
you couldn't. It's just not in your DNA.
I don't know. It's not in my DNA, but if they liked it, you enjoy it for their sake. But like my daughters love roller derby, which I love. It's like a
they
nice
do?
alt sport that they do. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Is it still violent? I used to love.
Well, the
watching
kids,
that.
the kids isn't. The kids versions.
Oh,
pretty
okay,
tame.
it's a
but they
kid
do.
version.
They're amazing. It's hilarious to watch.
It was sexual when I realized looking back.
Oh, yeah.
Like the women,
The grown-ups.
big
Let's
women.
stress that the grown-up version,
Yeah. Oh no. Yes.
not junior derby dolls.
No, but you probably I watched like it was like Skinny Mini, right? And,
I don't remember Skinny Mini. I remember big women with
Kansas City
long
Bomber.
blonde hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just they would pull it, and I remember
Yeah.
I didn't even know back
Oh,
then
yeah.
that
You
I
would
was
pull it.
getting turned on.
Something about a woman playing a guitar I find oddly sexual, just like this, because it's such a phallic thing. It's so weird to see.
That's
like Chrissy Hines, like
I love
wielding a
Chrissy
guitar in a
Hines.
really phallic way. It's so
She's
confusing.
awesome. How about women playing the drums?
That fills me with disgust.
I find women
Jello?
women completely leaving me alone for days on end.
Yeah.
So arousing.
Women blowing a dude, I find very sexual.
Well, I angrily
find
wax
that-
his car.
I find that incredibly sexual.
I wanted to just stick to musical instruments, guys.
Sorry.
Well, I didn't get the rule book of the riff.
You know when a woman is cleaning the spit valve of an alto sax? You know what I mean?
When a woman is draining a clarinet of sputum. Are you speaking in code? No, sir, I am not.
I'm usually pretty docile, but I threw a fit one time in a restaurant in Santa Monica because I'd worked in restaurants, and I'm like, this is not okay.
Can I just draw a parallel of my father getting his
Yeah, I
teeth
know.
kicked
Me
out
working in restaurants.
at a hunting bar in Massachusetts, and
You
you
said
throw
you
a
it's
food
fit
coming
guy.
at a
around.
restaurant at
It's
Santa
coming
Monica.
around. It's coming around. No, but the fact that your kids are traumatized.
call
by
this chilled
watching-
soup?
Yeah, exactly. This is not. This is not fucking hot soup. And I was like, you don't want to see your old man in a fight.
No.
It's when your dad looks old and frail, and it's
a
weird.
year ago, I
Yeah.
was at the South Beach Food and Wine Festival, and we were
Always a brawl.
we were in line.
always a
I was
brawl.
with my dad, who was 71 at the time, and we were in line for crepes. Not even savory crepes, like dessert crepes,
Sweet crepes.
sweet chocolate crepes.
Yeah, sure.
And there was a guy cutting with two women, and my dad. There's not much my dad cares about his fairness in the world. He cheats on his taxes, but lines are very, very
I
important to
understand.
him.
I'm the same way.
I don't get that at all. So he told the guy to go to the back of the line. The guy refused. My sister and I got bored, went to go get some other food, came back. My dad's in the guy's face, calling him buddy and challenging him to go outside and fight.
And how old was the other guy?
Oh, the guy was 30,
Right.
late 20s, early 30s.
I have a weird thing too. Like, and I will avoid a fight at all costs. But then there are times we were at the airport getting onto a plane. You know, you're all funneling in, and I'm with my kids.
Yeah.
And this guy cuts in front of me, and then he's with his kids who are like teenagers, and I'm just stopping them. Because he cuts around me like it's him or me to get in. And he says, like, fuck my family. I'm getting on first. Like, his part of the plane takes off ahead of mine. It
It's
makes
all
no sense.
luggage driven.
Yeah, we're
all our disputes are luggage driven.
We're all going onto the same thing, and then we're all going to be sitting there. But it's just like I have to win getting on the plane. So he, like, button hooks around me and gets on the plane. And then I just switch. And his kids
So you
are
screen his
stuck.
kids out.
And I screen his kids out.
You shouldn't
And
punish
then-
the children.
Well, they were teenagers, you know, and I'm just like, I'm teaching
Sins
him a
of the
lesson.
father, though.
Right.
But your girls get to
Well, I'll
watch
get
you
to
do
sins
this
of the
now.
father in a minute. Well, I shouldn't have done it because then he says to his kids over my shoulder, come on, be aggressive. And then I look right at him and I go, yeah, cut in line like your dad does.
did.
Dana Gould.
Those could be fighting words.
Yeah. And it was just out of me.
And
Like,
did you
I didn't
regret
even-
it, or you were psyched that you did it?
No, I loved it. And
Yeah.
and I think it's just spooky eyes, bedroom full of rifles. And I saw him a couple times on the plane. And I would like
Still doesn't talk
he
to you.
looked like he doesn't talk to me. He looked like post Spock out of character Leonard Nimoy.
You should have
Like
challenged
Leonard
him.
Nimoy, in search of era Leonard Nimoy, older Jewish intellectual with the glasses, but like
Really?
cheaty when it comes to getting on a plane.
You should have challenged him to the trivia game on the plane. You checked out his seat.
I just have a white glove. I challenge you to battleship. Did you play sports in high school?
You know what happened to me? I discovered pot. I became the pot guy. And that definitely affected my manliness because marijuana, you know, I just couldn't get into organized sports. You know, it was like I became such an anarchist with pot. Like it was like, I remember I got into racquetball in high school, like hitting the ball with the paddle ball. And me and my friends would play this for hours stoned. But I could never do it organized. Because, it was just so intense, the organized stuff.
What's funny because hair metal is considered macho, but they're in bouffant hairdos and women's underwear and makeup.
Yeah, that wasn't macho
But like
to me. that
Rat
stuff.
and all those, but there was an odd masculinity to
glam
those
metal.
guys. Glam metal is
Glam metal.
Yeah.
Bowie? Is that Bowie?
Well, that would
was
be
glam.
glam, but not
He was
glam.
glam.
But like Kiss would be the cartoon version. Like Paul Stanley is purportedly a macho guy, but he's covered in lipstick and he's got my aunt's haircut, and it's-
Poison or any of those.
Yeah.
They were confusing the genders
What were
with
they
that
thinking?
stuff.
When the Kiss guys were breaking it down,
Yeah.
like what was I want to know what Peter Criss had going through his mind, because it was like Gene Simmons was like, I'm going to be a demon. I'm going to have like dragon wings and a giant tongue, and Paul Stanley's like, yeah, I'll be like a glam rock god, a big hairy chest and big full lips, and Ace Frehley's like, I'll be the space ace man.
Yeah.
And Peter Criss like, I'll be a kitty cat. I have whiskers, and women will throw like cans of fish at me. Was there nothing else?
Well, I think they took the three good ones, and he stuck with the
There's
cat.
not a
what
fourth
else?
good one?
I don't think so.
Wolf,
Television repairman.
Wolf,
Oh, Wolf. Wolf would have been better.
Thunder,
Friendly pharmacist.
friendly pharmacist,
That would have been terrific.
Yeah.
racing bike.
Racing bike.
Anything better than Kitty. I was so sexually unaware as a kid. Like, I didn't even realize that the Village People, when they broke, were gay. Even though they were gayer than a landfill of cocks.
Same year.
I thought the same about Paul Lynde. It was like, wow, that guy's so persnickety.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know what persnickety meant.
People in ascots are hilarious.
Yep. Charles Nelson Riley.
Yep.
I
They were
just
just confirmed bachelors.
I just recently found out about Paul Lynde and Charles Nelson Riley.
When it came out that Rock Hudson was gay, that was such an earthquake.
Yeah.
It really was. Like, I remember that was in 1980, I think. And when it came out that Rock Hudson was gay, people just couldn't process it.
It's the same with Liberace, because I had older aunts that swore
Oh,
it
yeah.
was a tragedy he couldn't find the right woman.
Yeah.
The guy on the mirrored piano with the feathered boa. was blink, blink, blink. But Rock Hudson is a perfect example, because before people knew he was gay, generally, he was in all those movies with Doris Day, and he was
Right.
like this good-looking bachelor, and he was like messing around with the ladies. And then when you found out he was gay, a lot of people go, well, obviously. I mean, like, look at him now. But back then,
Right.
he was the ultimate guy. Like,
Right.
he was...
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot- I
I'm
mean,
watching Jack Benny reruns right now,
Yeah.
by the way. Are you guys watching this?
Yeah,
on
hilarious.
I love it.
Yeah.
And he's constantly, not constantly, but many episodes, he references Rock Hudson as the stud in Hollywood.
Yeah. No, that was
So-
it.
absolutely.
It was really like the last person you would think. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also
when did they
changed,
find
too,
out?
because-
When he had AIDS?
Yeah.
Is this when that
That's
became
usually
public?
a giveaway. That's a big giveaway. Yeah, that's what it was. And it's interesting, too, because gay culture has changed now. Like, you go down West Hollywood, the average gay guy looks like Daniel Craig. Like,
It scares me. It scares me. I don't know who to hit on.
Out of shape, but I mean, these bloated, out of shape hillbillies, like
Yeah.
putting down fags. I'm like, why don't you try that shit on Santa Monica and Robertson? You will get your fucking teeth buried down the back of your throat.
Yeah.
These guys are huge.
Yeah. Well, there's a category bear. And,
But
and that.
just the lack of body fat and the muscular development of these guys. There's like they're all in amazing shape, which is weird.
They
because-
are?
Oh yeah.
And where is this?
West Hollywood?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take you.
What's ironic is that there's an IHOP in the middle of West Hollywood, and
Anybody in that one?
there's not a person in that city that will eat a carb. So I don't understand.
know.
That. Yeah, I don't understand it.
The road rage thing is bad out here, but
I feel good in a car because I'm like Sigourney Weaver at the end of Alien. I actually have a machine as a part of me that can do my
I know,
fighting.
but sometimes, I'll get into it with some guy like make a, blowjob symbol. I'm good with mime on the road. Like I'm classically trained overseas with mime, and I'll just like do a lot of hand gestures.
That guy must be mad that I cut him off. He's flying a kite now.
These 5 years in Singapore are really paying off.
Is that gentleman behind me walking against the wind, Margaret? Did we cut him off? Is that the mime I heard about? I'm walking against the wind in my car.
He's so angry being in that box. Let him out. He's furious.
That guy must be pissed. He's walking a dog while crying.
But whenever I get into a hassle with a guy in a little car, I figure he can't be that big. But one time I got into a hassle with a guy in a really tiny car, and out steps this, he looked like Rock Hudson's blood. Just huge huge and dirty and just fucking horrific.
Rock Hudson's Blood, by the way, before we close, is looking for a new drummer.
That is a great name of a band. That's the best name of a band. We should start a band called
Let's do
Rock
it.
Hudson's fucking Blood.
Let's
Not
do it.
fucking Rock
Yeah,
Hudson's,
Rock Hudson's
Blood.
Let's
Anybody
go there.
play an instrument
We
here?
need a drummer. It
We
works out
need
fine.
a
We have
drummer.
everything
Let's
but
get a
drummer.
female drummer.
Joel Stein, the book is Man Made, a Stupid Quest for Manhood. What was your takeaway? Your son is now 3.
Yes.
And if your son does he have any proclivities towards the Easy Bake Oven or the truck in the mud puddle? Which one is
Chuck
it?
in the Mud Puddle. He's half Jew, so he loves he sleeps with the Matchbox cars clutched to his face. Yeah.
When we were in China the last time, there was a boy who was adopted into this group, this poor kid. He was, I think, 7 or 8. He'd been in the institutions his whole life. And we all went to the mall. We went into the toy store at the mall. And this kid, I think the toy that he had was like a wet sock. And he saw a Tonka truck. And he just went for that thing. And it's just a genetic boy truck.
It's weird.
Truck.
Yeah.
And he just went for that thing. And then I was immediately on him like, why do you have to fall into this macho stereotype? And I'm berating him and heckling him. And,
Give me some big kisses.
wouldn't you rather
give me
buy
a soul
scabies
kiss.
cream? I think so. No,
by
it
the
was
way,
beautiful. And we bought him the truck. We would not let him leave.
The answer to the Easy Bake Oven impulse was the creepy crawler. You could cook.
I had the creepy crawler.
And then there were the Incredible Edibles, which was just the
Creepy crawler,
carcinogenic
Incredible
goop.
Edibles, and the Vincent Price Shrunken Head Apple Sculpture Kit.
Now you too can make your own collection of shrunken heads.
I had that.
You gave him up a little bit there.
No, I didn't.
This has been the Dana Gould Hour, brought to you by the Internet. Music by Andy Paley, with Jake Posner behind the board. Engineering by Brent Butler. Internet junk by Spencer Hunt and Segan Friend. Sound editing, effects, and everything else by Jalinda Palmer. Hey, if you like the show, why don't you drop us a line at show@danagould.com. Tom Kenny speaking.
Now you too can make your own collection of shrunken heads.